Welcome to the first episode of The Right Environment, where we take you inside the writer's room. The writer we're fortunate enough to speak with today got his start on the sitcom Rosanne. But in 1992, when his first feature film became an instant hit, he became a household name. That film went on to become a television series that ran for 7 seasons on 2 different networks and spawned an equally successful spin-off series. 2005 marked this feature writer's directorial debut with a wild sci-fi western based on his own short-lived series. The writer I'm talking about is Joss Whedon. I'm Jeff Berman, and you've just entered The Right Environment. Tell me, what does a typical day for Joss Whedon look like?
It used to be early morning was great. Now, obviously, the kids, that sort of falls by the wayside. So mid-morning, get myself, whatever. I do have a list of many different projects. And basically, it's whichever one is crying out for food the most is the one that I feed. And I'll take that and try to either give it the day or give it just the block of time. I need big blocks of time, at least a few hours, or you can't really ramp up and get into it. And I'll spend part of that at a cafe, part of it here, maybe at lunch, or if I have to drive somewhere, if I need to think something through, wherever I can just get some alone time in between, meetings and stuff that inevitably sort of eat up the day.
How do you prefer to write? Longhand, typing, dictation?
I've never tried dictation. I don't think I'd be great with that. Generally, it's both. I'm split right down the middle. I like bringing I have a small ThinkPad laptop that I'm wed to because it fits on a restaurant table, and the keys are where I can find them because I can't really type. But I'm fine on a notepad as long as it's decent sized.
What's Dollhouse about?
Dollhouse is about a woman whose memory has been completely wiped so that she can be implanted with different memories and different personalities to be hired out for specific assignments, criminal, romantic, altruistic, all sorts of different things. So every week she is basically a completely different person with a completely different mission, and but at the same time, in her sort of blank self, she begins to become self-aware and go, I used to be somebody, I think, and I want to know who.
What's episode 6?
I'm not telling. But I do have it.
You've been quoted as saying, I need people to grow. I need them to change. I need them to learn and explore and die and do all the things that people do in real life. Where does something like that come from?
I can't imagine creating fictions any other way. I was never that big a fan of reset television. I was never a fan.
Reset television being?
Reset television being, I always use Murder, She Wrote.
Right.
And my feeling is, isn't she sitting in a room going somewhere like, everywhere I go, someone dies. What's wrong with me? Like, we forget what's happened. I couldn't, the X-Files bothered me because of Scully. She was in Murder, She Wrote. He kept learning and growing, and she kept going, that can't be a monster. And that's, maybe it's because I watched a lot of serialized television,
Right.
I watched, Masterpiece Theater was a great big deal for me, and the shows that I loved from America afterwards, Wise Guy, Hill Street Blues, all serialized, all about a cumulative experience. Mm-hmm. There was no reset show that I was absolutely in love with. And I don't think that's the human experience. It's also part of why sitcoms didn't resonate with me as much, because, wacky situation after wacky situation, so I start to get a little twitchy. I'm like, what have we learned? Where have we come? Because if we're not changing, and I'm pretty pedantic about this, if we're not changing, learning, growing, we don't have to hug, we don't have to share, but we have to change. We have to figure out something or forget something. We have to make a mistake. We have to, deal with our cumulative experience. If we're not doing that, then honestly, why are we here?